What's going on, everyone? So about a month ago now or so, we got the reports from Brett Siegel that the Los Angeles Lakers were engaged in conversation trying to acquire Dante DiVincenzo, which ended up going like nowhere. Minnesota probably just laughed and hung up. But Kentavious Caldwell-Pope was another target that the Lakers were trying to bring back to the Lakers. Won a championship with the Lakers in 2020. One of the guys that they probably never should have traded, never should have gotten off of. But nonetheless, they were trying to get him as he ended up going in the Desmond Bane trade to the Memphis Grizzlies. Right? That obviously so far has not gone anywhere. Otherwise, the trade probably would have been done. However, we got new reports from Jacob Rude of the Silver Screen and Roll, basically talking about how the Lakers bringing back Kentavious Caldwell-Pope could still be in the cards, as well as the situation with Memphis, something to kind of keep an eye on. Like they're a team that just gave Triple J an extension. They're a team that I don't know if KCP would necessarily be traded this offseason, right? Like, I could see Memphis wanting to go into this season, kind of see how does he fit, how does he look alongside Ja Morant in that like Desmond Bane role, right? How do they slot him at the 3 even at times? Like, I could see them kind of working it out. He did have a pretty rough season last year with Orlando. I don't know how good he's going to be with Memphis. And the thing is that like if he's bad with Memphis, the problem is I think everyone's going to just go, oh, he's washed, he's cooked, he's done. I don't think that's what it is. I honestly think it's not a coincidence Kentavious Caldwell-Pope's best years were with the Lakers alongside LeBron James and the Denver Nuggets alongside Nikola Jokic. Like, again, you go to a team like the Orlando Magic, they don't have the playmaking. They don't have a guy anywhere close to a Luka Doncic, but LeBron James in those days or Nikola Jokic. I think KCP on a team like the Lakers would be so much better and thrive so much more because he's a guy that can just play better off ball. He's a guy that can catch and shoot the 3 ball. Right? We're a year removed from him being all, defense as well as just being a knockdown catch and shoot 3-point shooter. And then he leaves a team that has Nikola Jokic and the playmaking that he has and goes to a team like Orlando and is bad. And it's like, wow, that's strange. Is it, what's more likely that he went to the Orlando Magic and they just don't have the playmaking in order to get him the quality of looks that he needs and buy him the time necessary for him to properly set his shot, or that he just like fell off a cliff a year after being all NBA or all defense and, a premier 3-and-D wing. I think it's more that, hey, he didn't have a Jokic or a LeBron or something like that. So I do think going and slotting alongside a Luka Doncic, I do think would really raise the ceiling for his career. So with Memphis, I could see it being something where he still kind of continues to have his struggles, and that could be where the Lakers come in and capitalize. Because the trade proposal that was presented was Gabe Vincent and Maxi Kleber for a Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. And the idea is you're basically helping Memphis. Like, you're not giving up assets or anything like that because there is a risk and he is on a long-term contract, and you're basically clearing the deck for Memphis, which is where I think closer to the trade deadline, that kind of move makes more sense for Memphis. Because like if KCP is like, even if he's not bad, like let's say, what if he's like, decent, like he's good. He's not great, nothing like, not like all NBA defense and, shooting 42% from 3-point range, but he's good, right? He's like 38% from 3 and he's a solid player out there, right? Like, I could still see Memphis going like, all right, let's just kind of clear the deck here a little bit, go into next season with Triple J and Ja Morant and kind of retool and revamp this roster, right? Like, I could see them, especially if they're kind of, if they're kind of middle of the pack or they're like borderline play-in team, I could see them being like, okay, we need to kind of get back to the drawing board, right? And that could be where the Lakers could potentially benefit and capitalize, especially if all you're doing is Gabe Vincent and Maxi Kleber in order to make that trade, make that move. Because at that point, right, like, you still need to fill a spot, which is why, if you do it at the trade deadline, Lakers would have enough cap space to go and do what they need and what is necessary, right? So you gotta kind of keep certain things in perspective, because you look at KCP, which, by the way, his contract lines up perfectly with the Lakers cap space, making $21.6 million this year and then $21.6 million next year as a player option, which he's probably going to opt into. Maybe you can get him on a more long-term deal, but I think the Lakers will just let him opt in and, kind of use him and operate him as an expiring contract. So essentially what the Lakers could do is if you could do something like that, Maxi Kleber and Gabe Vincent for a KCP, that gets you, clears off about roughly another $1 million. So you could bring in a guy, and then plus, once you get right before the playoffs, then you could bring in that other guy to kind of fill in the roster spot. So Lakers could still have the flexibility and maintain the roster if they were to do that in the season, right? Because remember, contracts are prorated, right? So you could work it out if you were to do it in the season. Obviously, if you could do it right now, that could be even better because then the Lakers could bring a guy in or, work on other trades, make other moves. But we'll see how that actually works out. There was a report that the Lakers have had chances to trade Gabe Vincent as well as Jared Vanderbilt. Maybe that's what the KCP trade is, right? Maybe they had, the money is pretty close, right? But something like that, I could see the Lakers going like, nah, I don't want to do that. Right? I could see the Lakers being like, because again, yes, KCP coming in, even if he gets back to being that defensive piece for you, you could slot him at the 2, slot him at the 3, that would be fantastic. Huge for the Lakers, right? But, right, the Gabe Vincent loss would be okay. It's the Jared Vanderbilt loss because he's so long, lengthy, versatile. He just gives you the defensive versatility that you don't have anyone else that can give that to you. A dude, Thero, maybe, but he's unknown. He's a rookie. You're really expecting him to kind of fill in the defensive role that Jared Vanderbilt does for this team? Likely not. So that's why if you could do like a Gabe Vincent and a Maxi Kleber, it's like, hey, we're clearing off some salary for you. We're helping you out, kind of clearing the deck for you. We're taking on KCP's contract this year, next year. It allows you next season to kind of revamp and retool. And if you're the Lakers, that gives you a $21.6 million expiring contract to where, if Giannis does want to come and he forces his way to Lakers, or Jokic does want to come, you have that $21 million expiring contract that now you can package with, say, an Austin Reeves, you'd have 3 firsts, right? So it could even put you in position to land that other star if you need to for salary filler, or just, another type of trade. Like, let's say KCP is a little rocky for you. Right? Okay, well, now you got a $21.6 million expiring contract that allows you to now maintain some flexibility going into next season, right? Or let's say he's good but not great, right? Like I mentioned earlier with Memphis, right? Let's say he's just, he's solid. Good rotation player, right? Not really the starter we're looking for, but just a solid rotation player. Like, then I could see, the Lakers being like, okay, well, let's just kind of leave him, maybe bring him off the bench or something like that, have him play a bench role. And then that way the money falls off the books next season and we don't have to worry about now, because again, Lakers are supposedly trying to preserve cap space for 2027, which KCP kind of fills in. So KCP, 32 years old, he'll be 33 after the trade deadline. So you'd have a good half season with him at 32, going into 33 years old. And again, the problem is that he was still very good. He was still good defensively, but it was just the lack of shooting, right? He shot 34.2% from 3-point range on 4.3 attempts, right? But again, you look at with Denver, he shot 40.6%, so 41% on 4.1 attempts, literally the year prior. And then the year before that, shot 42.3% on 4.2 attempts. The last time he shot below, 39%, because 39% with Washington. The last time he shot below 39% was the Lakers in 2019-2020, and he shot 38.5%, right? 38.5% on 3.5 attempts. Right? He's also a guy that plays, which is good, right? Because the best ability is availability. And he played 77 games, 76 games, 76 games, 77 games, right? So the last handful of seasons, he's given you basically 76, 77 games. So you can basically clock him in at 70 plus, which is very beneficial for a team like the Lakers. So again, I think a lot of it was just he didn't have the playmaking to set him up and put him in proper position. Again, I don't think it's a coincidence that the guy shooting 40% from 3-point range alongside Nikola Jokic and LeBron James when he's on the Lakers and then goes to a team like Orlando where it's like one of their biggest kind of question marks is their lack of playmaking, and he drops down to 34%. Because again, literally the previous year he was at almost 41%. He dropped 8 percentage points on the same number of field goal attempts from 3-point range. Right? Did he really just fall off a cliff, or is it because of, again, the lack of playmaking? I think it's because of the lack of playmaking. But last year, 77 games played, 29.6 minutes per game, 7.1 attempts per game, 43.9% overall from the floor on 4.3 attempts, 34.2% on 2-point range, on 2.8 attempts. He shot 59%. EFG of 54.3%. And then from the free throw line, 86.3% on 1.2 attempts. He grabbed 2.2 rebounds, 2 assists, 1.5 steals, half a block, and 9 points per game. Right. So again, he's a guy that I think if in the right situation with a team like the Lakers, where he can kind of get back in rhythm, get back in order, have a guy in LeBron, have a guy in Luka Doncic, even Austin Reeves, that he can kind of play off of at times. He can give you the defense, play the defense, but also I think will be more efficient knocking down the 3 ball and hitting some shots. But anyways, always, this is a discussion. I pass the question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me out, so we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button, turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one.